Hello people and welcome back once again to the channel, and if you haven't already seen our other videos, I recommend you check them out. The next episode we now move on to is Simpson and Delilah, which is season 2, episode 2 of The Simpsons. This episode first aired on the 18th of October 1990. This was also placed 23rd on the Entertainment Weekly's top 25 Simpsons episodes list. The 2008 article of Entertainment Weekly named Harvey Fierstein's role of Carl as one of the 16 best guest appearances of the show.
Similar to the first episode of the series, there's no secondary story arc to this one. It's just revolving around Homer and his miraculous hair growth. Also, there isn't any debuting characters in this episode. The only fresh face we see in this, like we say, is his new assistant Carl. Only appears in this episode, doesn't return anywhere further down the line, or not at least in a speaking role. I don't know if he made any background appearances. So the episode itself starts off with the Simpsons family
watching a quiz show on TV.
Yeah, in the family's also Patty and Selma. They're just doing the old classic you do when you're watching quiz shows, guessing the answers between the family, even to the point that on one question Homer gives about 4 different answers.
And somehow gets the right answer.
The final answer just happens to be right, so he takes this as a victory, even though 1 out of 4. Okay. This is where we get the advert for this new hair growth tonic.
This is the first instance where you find out Homer's missing his hair.
Yeah. And then also, a little bit further on, we learn that this isn't the first time he's tried hair tonics. He's tried dozens in the past.
Yeah, none of them have worked, so why has he still got them in his bathroom cabinet? Wouldn't he have thrown them away?
Memento, I don't know, it's Homer. There's no logic with Homer.
No.
And also, an indication here that Marge doesn't really care whether he has hair or not.
To be honest though, look at his appearance.
Yeah, but again, he's overweight, he's bald.
He drinks a lot of beer.
And Marge stays with him through thick or thin, forgives him for everything, so it's like, yep, beauty in the eye of the beholder and all that sort of thing. So he ends up going to the clinic, inquiring about the tonic. That's when we find out that for this package, which is a tonic, anti-gravity boots, and a brush, it's $1,000.
Bit dear for that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm sure there's plenty of other things you can spend $1,000 on. Obviously, Homer doesn't have this sort of money, at least not at this stage of the series anyway. He seems to have plenty of money later on, somehow. So yeah, we then get him in the power plant, having lunch. He's having fish sticks and complaining about the fact that there isn't enough tartar sauce.
Tried to take Lenny and Carl's.
And obviously they're like, nope, not having ours. Then Muncie goes on about this hair tonic for a bit more. Carl and Lenny between them are just like, just basically doctor a few insurance policies, charge it to the company. Homer's apprehensive at this, and then they're like, well, basically $1,000, what's that to Mr. Burns? It's only one less ivory back scratcher. Basically indicating, no, he's not going to miss $1,000. So he goes back to the clinic. The doctor at first is just like, he's not going to sell him this tonic on insurance papers. He's like dead against it. But then he asks Homer to come round the back. They do the trade-off.
Like an illegal deal.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's only hair tonic. I'm sure it isn't such that big a deal. But yeah, Homer goes home. He applies the tonic before he goes to bed, putting on a hair cap and all this sort of thing. He ends up going to bed with a couple of strands of hair. Yet, overnight, and just with the use of this tonic, he ends up basically getting a full head of hair.
Yeah, like, would that even work straight away?
Surely, it'd probably take a week even for a little hair growth.
That's what I mean.
And multiple uses. So yeah, wakes up, full head of hair, then leads to him running round the town.
Yeah, and with that, when Homer runs through the streets of Springfield, when he has hair, it's actually a parody of the scene near the end of It's a Wonderful Life, where George Bailey runs through the streets of Bedford Falls, saying hello to everything and everyone he sees. So there's another parody from The Simpsons, which they incorporate into the episodes.
Yeah. And then he gets into the centre of Springfield, and then there's this other guy who's doing the same routine.
Yeah, and he somehow
They just
finds
look at each
out...
other, and then it's like, Demoxenil! They just realise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, from there, Homer goes to the barber's. I believe, although it wasn't mentioned, I think the barber's is called Jake's Barbers or something.
Think so.
And then from here, just one line, it's like, the barber's like, Homer Simpson, I've not seen you in 20 years.
Yeah, but in one of the flashback episodes,
basically, we learned that Homer started to lose his hair.
When he was having Bart.
Yeah.
And Marge was having Bart.
So it's like, Bart's 10 years old, so it's like, what, did the writers forget this? Or are they trying to say that Homer didn't have a haircut 10 years prior to him losing his hair? But even in the flashbacks, it's like, if that was the case, he kept a miraculous head of hair. His hair kept, even though it weren't short, he still kept it pretty manageable before he started pulling it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he goes home. Marge has been telling Patty and Selma about this, about how he's getting more confidence through it. And basically, when he walks in, this is the first and maybe the only instance that Patty and Selma are like, oh, they seem to like the look of Homer, which doesn't happen very often.
No, I think it's the only time, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, that's one for the album, Patty and Selma not hating Homer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we basically then move back to the power plant again. We learn that Mr. Burns has to promote from within every so often.
Every year.
And basically, he's just looking through the security system. I mean, yeah, boss fan his employees, very trustworthy. Basically, like, yeah, he doesn't like the looks of anybody, and then he just spots Homer, and even here he's like, who's that? It's like, you can't even put it across the fact that Homer's got hair now. He didn't know who Homer was when he was bald.
No.
So it's like, Smithers obviously explains who he is, and Miss Burns like, yep, this is the guy we're going to promote. So he's then promoted, made management. Basically, then he starts interviewing for assistants. We basically just get a slew of female assistants, which we learn out from a conversation that he has with Marge, that all the female assistants make kissy faces at him.
Why would they be turned on by someone who like Homer Simpson?
Yeah. Oh, he's got hair. Yeah, but he's still fat.
And drinks a lot.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, obviously he's not drinking at work, but again, first time for everything.
Exactly.
But then this leads to the introduction of Carl, and basically Marge then says, I was like, he sounds nice, hire him. It's like, and then from here, the seeds are planted that Carl knows straight away that Homer doesn't belong in this job. He's a phony and all this. And even Homer inquires how he can tell, and he's just like, you told me it's your posh and all this sort of thing, and the clothes you wear. It's like, is he a psychologist or something? How can you tell that from just meeting him for the first time?
You couldn't.
Yeah. But yeah, he gives him the job anyway, even after he makes silly donuts like, oh, I need moving expenses, I need this, I need that. Homer agrees, even though it's going to be even more money. But from here, Carl then takes him clothes shopping to try and turn him into a proper executive. Yeah, but then as the story leads on, we get Smithers being jealous, is it? Or
yeah, he doesn't want anyone getting close to Mr. Burns, does he? He wants to be the one looking after him.
Yeah, I don't think the hinting towards Smithers having feelings for Mr. Burns just yet. I think it's more the case of Smithers is Mr. Burns' number 2. He doesn't want anybody else getting close, because it looks like there's no one else in the plant that is anywhere near Smithers' level of being close to Mr. Burns. Because even though you see other executives in this episode, you don't really see them again. It's always like, the only people you see on Mr. Burns' level throughout the series is his lawyers. It's just like,
yeah,
there's no one else. It's always like Smithers is his right-hand man. So it's like, he's jealous or maybe threatened by Homer's position here.
He is, though, until someone else like Homer comes along, then Mr. Smithers is like brushed aside.
Yeah, and this leads to Smithers basically trying to talk Mr. Burns out of it by basically saying, yes, if you're taking him away from being safety inspector, the accidents at the plant have lowered, and they're about the same level as when Homer's on holiday sort of thing. But Mr. Burns having nothing of it. He's like, nope, Homer's going to be the person to lead the plant. So yeah, this then leads Smithers to do some investigation. Don't know what he was expecting to find at first, but obviously he smells a rat. Basically comes across the paperwork anyway. Why no one spotted this paperwork to begin with?
Exactly.
It's like that. They're not very good at looking after that sort of thing.
So Homer would have got away with it then, wouldn't he?
Yeah, if Smithers hadn't been so jealous. Smithers brings this to Homer's attention, and this is where Carl jumps in. It's like, nope, I did it. I take full responsibility, even to the fact that Smithers questioning why would you do this, which is a very good question. Why would some complete stranger want to buy Homer hair tonic?
Did he fancy Homer because he was
he
portrayed as a gay character?
He was, yeah.
And the kiss him and Homer do, I think, isn't that the first time an animated series?
Probably the first time a series in general has done an openly gay. Well, you say openly gay kiss, but yeah. So yeah, it's a bit weird in that sense. And then he just writes a check out for the $1,000 anyway. It's like, what, you just got $1,000 lying around that you can give, or is that check going to bounce?
Oh, bounce.
Yeah, but yeah, to go back a bit, you get Homer and Marge's wedding anniversary.
Yeah, I don't get that. Homer did not say, and Homer even forgot his wedding anniversary.
Yeah, he basically indicates he didn't remember it.
Carl knows his wedding anniversary.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, if you take the interaction he has with Smithers out of the way, you maybe could write this off as being, is Carl a figment of Homer's imagination? Is he his guardian angel? Something like this, because it's like, he seems to be very pro-Homer in this episode. In fact, there's not really been any other characters that have been this pro towards Homer. Although, like you say, he gives him a kiss on the lips. Even when he's had female admirers, they've never been this open towards Homer. They wanted to be with Homer, but they've never been this. So it just sort of raises the question of like,
was he in his head?
Yeah, and therefore did the whole Smithers finding the insurance papers even happen? Is that something that Homer's put up in his own head? Give it a backstory so that Carl can bail him out of it and give this $1,000. But yeah, as I say, like we're alluding to, Carl sends singers round to the house to sing to Marge and wish happy anniversary and all this. But then getting back to later on in the episode, Smithers tells Homer he's got a speech to make, and even at this point, before Carl leaves, he's feeling apprehensive because it's like, he don't know what to say in a speech. He's clearly been riding this promotion off the back of his hair growth. It's given him a bit of confidence, but he's still not fully confident himself. So he basically goes home having found out he's got this speech. Carl's left him and all this. He's just beginning to doubt himself. Gets home to find Bart basically using the hair tonic because he wants to grow a beard.
Yeah.
Now, I'm no expert in the field of hair tonics, but surely there's a difference between hair growth for the head and hair growth in the facial hair features.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, but again, this is Bart. Probably, even if he'd got away with it, it probably wouldn't have worked. So he starts splashing on his face. Homer walks in, catches him. Bart drops a hair tonic, and it basically, the entire bottle just spills all over the carpet.
Yeah, but Homer loses his hair after that in drabs, but would he lose his hair that quick?
Yeah, basically, the quickness of him gaining the hair is lost in the same instance overnight. But at the same point, I don't know whether it was the fact from the beginning, whether it started to fall out, whether it's the fact he was combing it, because the last strands were coming out when he was combing his hair.
Yeah.
It's like, surely, if you realise that your hair's coming out because you're combing it, logic, would you not just stop combing it? Try and make do with what you've got, but again, it's Homer, it doesn't make sense.
When has he ever made sense?
So yeah, so basically we get to the point, he's sat in his office, still worrying about this speech. he's now wearing a hat to conceal the fact he's got no hair, because he suddenly realises he's got no hair, no one's going to take him seriously, sort of thing. So he sets the stage that no one's going to care anyway. He's not got a full head of hair. They're not going to listen to him. But then Carl reappears and has actually prepared a speech for him, which, when he gives it, we learn is a pretty solid speech. But just the fact of, because now he's got no hair, no one's taking him seriously. Someone even remarks, why should we be listening to this person? He's got no hair. What does he know about running a power plant?
Yeah, surprisingly, with Mr. Burns having no hair.
Yeah. So it's like, what are they saying? It's like, if you've not got money, and what they probably mean is he's got no money, he's got no hair, so we can't trust him. We only trust Mr. Burns because he's got money. But again, later on in the series, we learn that Mr. Burns does have a few yes men in his employment anyway. So they're probably just there going, oh, good idea, Mr. Burns, but secretly thinking he's got no hair, but we're not going to question it because...
Yeah, how much is he paying him?
Exactly. So yeah, the speech, basically, it goes through eventually. There's no one left. They've all walked out because it's like, they're not going to listen to him because he made their mind up. They're not going to listen to a bald man.
All he goes on about is the tartar sauce. There's not enough tartar sauce. And there's so much other major issues at the plant. And all he goes on about is there's not enough tartar sauce.
Well, A, he thinks of his stomach, and B, he's not that smart to begin with. He doesn't know anything about running a power plant.
No.
So with this, Smithers takes great delight in his failure anyway. He then informs him that Mr. Burns wants to see him. So Smithers is like, yep. I don't know at this point if he thinks he's going to get fired. He definitely knows that he's not going to keep his promotion. So Mr. Burns tells Smithers to leave his office anyway. And then he basically tells Homer, yeah, although you've lost that job, you can go back to work in your old job. Basically, we learn out in this conversation that Mr. Burns is 81 years old, even though...
His age changes.
Yeah, he's been 70s, he's been over 100, he's been named the oldest person in Springfield, the oldest living person. So again, was 81 going to be his actual age, or is it a joke by the writers, just basically fluctuate his age?
Could have been a joke.
Yeah. So Homer just takes this small victory, but he's still feeling down, and it basically takes Marge to basically cheer him up and basically sing him the same song that was sung to her when Carl arranged the anniversary singers. And basically, yeah, the episode basically come full circle. Homer's got no hair again, but he's still got the family unit, because he's starting to worry that the kids wouldn't love him anymore because he didn't have money. Then again, never loved him to begin with.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's basically the episode as a whole.
Is there a moral to the episode, meaning it doesn't matter if you have hair or not?
If you look at it that way, it's a fact of he got his promotion because he had hair.
Yeah.
So I think they're leaning towards the fact of, oh yeah, probably the way society thought at the time, you need to have these extra elements to get ahead in the working position. But yeah, if it's got an underlying story, I don't know what that story would actually be. It's sort of one of those episodes that gives you one story, but then eventually gets back to the status quo. Yeah, he gets ahead of her, but he eventually goes back to the way he is, sort of thing.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So I'm not really too sure if there was actually an underlying story in that at all. Just give Homer a bit of joy in the episode, but he loses it all eventually anyway. But yeah.
No one else really offers anything to the episode, do they? Really?
No, they say...
Bart and Lisa don't have hardly anything in the episode.
No, basically, there's brief instances like when Homer first gets his head of hair and he comes back. There's a slight point of him rolling the grass with all the kids and Santa's Helper and also Snowball too. But this leads to a slight error. When they're doing this, Snowball 2 is actually shown to be like 2 to 3 times the size of what the cat would normally be. It's like nearly the size of the kid sort of thing.
Yeah, you got to closely look at that.
Yeah.
Because when I rewatched it...
I didn't see it until I rewatched it.
I saw it.
So yeah. So yeah, the kids themselves don't offer much. This
Maggie doesn't offer anything. So Maggie's hardly. Is Maggie in it?
probably apart from the, like I say, the rolling around with Homer in the grass. She might show up at meal times or something. I don't know. To be fair, I think this is one of those episodes where Maggie hardly appears at all. Because again, Margie's hardly in it as well. She only pops up a bit with it, with like the forgetting of the anniversary and the making Homer feel better at the end of it sort of thing. So, as I said at the beginning, it's basically just Homer's story, and the rest of the family take a back seat. I think really with this one, Mr. Burns and Smithers have more of a story than the actual family.
They do actually, yeah.
But yeah, other bits from the episode to add?
And that's it with the episodes, isn't it? Positives and negatives. Let's firstly start with the negatives of the episode.
Well, the negatives itself's got to be the whole hair growth itself, from the gaining and the losing of it overnight.
I'd agree with that.
Like we say, it would take ages to grow the hair. Maybe it would start falling out slowly, but again, it's like, yeah, it is one of those suspend your disbelief sort of things. Other negatives?
I don't think there's much negatives, would you say, about it?
I can't think of any other positives.
Positives would be...
I suppose it was nice to see Patty and Selma actually like Homer for a change.
You don't see it often, like we said before.
Yeah, but then again, on the other hand, it's like, would you have them any other way? The bickering.
Positive, I did like Smithers in this episode. The way he was conniving to, like, check up Homer, it's like, and find him out.
Yeah.
And what he did.
And at the same point, as we say, they've not basically done that element of his character yet, where he's growing feelings towards Mr. Burns. It's more the fact of he's trying to protect his job sort of thing.
Yeah, there's another side to him which we see in this episode.
He's got a more conniving side, and he takes great delight in Homer's actual downfall. In
to be fair, he knows how useless Homer actually is.
Yeah, but then again, we see was it a good thing that we saw a nicer point to Mr. Burns, the fact that he gives Homer his old job back?
You don't see it often, do you?
Not really. But again, like we say, he doesn't remember Homer with her or without her.
Yeah.
So that keeps going as well. Any other positives from the episode?
Not many positives really, apart from who Homer gets but
yeah, it gives him a bit of happiness.
Yeah.
I think that'll do it then for the episode then, won't it?
I think it will do, yeah. If we've missed anything out of the episode, please comment down below. If there's a positive and negative which we haven't mentioned and you want to point out, do the same, comment down below.
Like,
share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.